My next guest is one of many of the new faces we'll be seeing in the state Senate. Tim Kennedy coasted to an easy primary win. He knocked off longtime incumbent Bill Stikowski, and then he was able to hold off Republican challenger Assemblyman Jack Quinn and the Western New York wave of support for gubernatorial candidate Carl Paladino. Now, in the end, he actually won by more than 2,000 votes, and Tim Kennedy is joining me in the studio tonight. Senator-elect, how are you?
Thank you very much.
That's actually kind of amazing because Carl Paladino carried 12 counties, and they were all in the west of the state, and he carried them by fairly a lot. So how do you explain what happened in your particular race?
Well, you know, there was a Republican movement across the country, as we know, and as well across the state, you know, coming out of Carroll Country. But, you know, I think the electorate recognized that our message was one of change, and both Carl Paladino and Governor-elect Cuomo spoke of change. And, you know, my campaign spoke of change for months and months, and it resonated across the political spectrum, across political boundaries. And, you know, we were very fortunate to capitalize on that message of change, and I'm ready to implement those changes now in New York State.
Now, you're actually kind of an interesting hybrid of a candidate. Bill Stikowski used to run, he's a Democrat, and he is the gentleman that you defeated in the primary. He used to run with the conservative line and the Democratic line. This year, that's how you ran, right?
That's correct, yes.
And it's kind of a disparate thing. Most people don't think, oh, Democrats and conservatives, that's normal. So you have some positions that are a little unusual. So you, on abortion, you have a pretty conservative position.
Correct.
But on gay marriage, you have a different position.
Correct. Yes, you know, I believe that, you know, it's about representing the people and just being yourself at the end of the day. And our message of change resonates across political boundaries and transcends party affiliation. So we were able to
So if the gay marriage vote comes up, you will be voting in favor of it?
Yeah, I'll be supportive of marriage equality, absolutely.
You will, okay. And the other thing that happened here was that the Working Families Party line was Bill Stikowski's line. So you actually didn't benefit from having that particular line, and the Working Families Party sent out a letter saying to people after he won the primary, please don't vote for Bill Stikowski in the general election.
Yeah.
It was strange.
The whole year was somewhat strange, but I can tell you I've been fortunate to carry the Democratic line, the Conservative line, the Working Families Party line, and the Independence Party line in my years in the Erie County Legislature. And moving forward, I believe you know, we'll have an opportunity to do the same in the New York State Senate.
So you are here for freshman orientation,
yeah.
And how was it? What did they tell you?
Well, a lot of paper pushing today.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm sure.
It was a lot about getting acquainted with the geography of the Capitol and you know, basically doing a lot of the mundane things that a senator-elect or any legislator would have to do in order to prepare themselves for coming to the Capitol to do the work. So, you know, right now my office is in the process of aggressively transitioning from an Erie County legislative office to a New York State Senate office, and so we're doing all the things we need to do to be successful and to hit the ground running come January 1st. And you know, we're looking forward to being as aggressive as a New York State Senator as we were as a New York State Senate candidate, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity. And
well, here's the problem, though. You don't know if you're going to be in the minority or the majority. So when they talk to you about orientation, what are they saying, or are they just not addressing that? They just say, we think we're going to be in the majority moving forward.
Yeah, I think right now no one knows, and I think the most important thing right now is that all those votes are counted on both sides of the aisle to maintain the integrity of the voting process from a 20,000-foot level. But at the end of the day, whether I'm in the majority or the minority, I look forward to being extremely aggressive to bring results to the people of Western New York that entrusted me with their vote and support, and I'm looking forward to that.
One of those cliffhanger races is actually right in your backyard. It's the 60th Senate District. That's the Antoine Thompson race versus Mark Grisanti, who was a Democrat, now is going to become a Republican. What do you think happened there? I mean, is it just an all politics is local situation? Because Antoine Thompson had a heck of a time holding on to his seat amid Carroll Country, the wave, while you did fairly well.
Well, I think it is. All politics is local, and you have to look at every race individually. And I got to tell you, I was so focused on what we were doing in the 58th Senate race, and you know, it was all encompassing. So, you know, right now I'm focused not about the campaign and what we did in the past, but looking forward to recruiting strong talent so that come January 1st, we have the most aggressive New York State Senate office, quite frankly, in New York State. And we have a lot of campaign pledges that I'm looking to implement, and my number one priority is job creation for the people of Western New York. For far too long, we've lost our voice in Albany, and when we go to Albany, we're going to go down there focused on delivering for the people of Western New York.
So to that end, though, one of the things that Bill Stakowski tried to do was hold up the entire budget while he fought for a UB 2020, which of course is a huge issue for the people of Buffalo, but also it's a larger issue. It's the SUNY Empowerment Plan. So would you be willing to hold up the budget in order, if you thought you could get a UB 2020 deal?
I think what Bill Stakowski demonstrated in withholding his vote for that particular budget vote was the fact that every single vote counts. And whether we're talking about UB 2020 or other issues that are important to the people of Western New York, every single vote counts. Every single vote is influential. So I'm looking forward to using my vote as influence to deliver for the people of Western New York, whether that comes pertaining to UB 2020, whether it comes for other important job creation opportunities for the people of Western New York. When it comes to delivering for Western New Yorkers, I'm going to have to use my vote as influence and as a bartering and bargaining chip to deliver.
Because it's the most powerful thing that you have.
That's exactly
really.
right.
So let's argue this scenario. There's a leadership, and we'll get to the leadership question in a second, but there's a leadership in the Senate of your conference, and they say to you, we need you, Tim Kennedy, on X vote. And you think to yourself, well, it's better for the constituents if I go over here and vote for the Republicans. Would you do that?
I will vote for Western New York. My vote is going to be not a Democrat or Republican vote. My vote's going to be a Western New York vote.
So you don't consider yourself beholden necessarily to the conference, and that means you're going to act fairly independently.
Well, I'm an independent individual, and my record proves that. But at the end of the day, I'm also a strong Democrat, and I fight for working families, and I fight for the middle class. But I also am going down to Albany as a champion for Western New York issues. And Western New York issues aren't Democrat or Republican issues. They're unique to not only the geography of the state, but to the history of the state and to the future of the state. So, we have a lot of unique issues in Western New York that other areas of the state don't necessarily have. And, I'm going to have to fight as a Democrat, but also, first and foremost, as a Western New Yorker.
So you're open, then, to working with other members of the delegation, regardless of what their political affiliation is?
I'm going to work with whoever I need to work with to deliver for the people of Western New York.
Some people would say, actually, and the Republicans frequently say, that it was better for upstate New York when the Republicans were in control because everything else is controlled by downstate interests. Do you agree with that?
I don't buy that. I believe that all leadership should be independent. Democrat and Republican should work together for the constituencies. And, I represent part of the state, New York State, Western New York, that has unique issues. And, my focus is going to be on job creation for the people of Western New York and New York State, on ensuring that taxes are cut, including the implementation of a property tax cap, as well as ensuring that the culture of corruption of Albany goes away. We need to ensure that strong ethics reform happens in the state capitol. These aren't Democrat or Republican issues. These are New York State issues, and these are going to be resolved with Democrats and Republicans working together, but also understand that I am a Democrat, and I stand up for working class Western New Yorkers and middle class Western New Yorkers.
So you are in line, what you just said there was in line with a lot of what Governor-elect Cuomo, he's fiscally conservative, fairly, and then subsequently he is pretty liberal on social issues, including gay marriage. I think you probably differ on abortion. But what about the issue of where the leadership is going to take the Senate? If in fact the Democrats retain the Senate, then it's really a downstate-dominated conference. Will you support John Sampson for leader to continue to lead that conference?
Well, first and foremost, all the votes need to be counted. So we don't know if we're going to be in the majority or the minority.
Sure.
I haven't spoken with any senator about leadership at this point, so I think it's a little premature at this point. But I can tell you, when it comes to leadership, I will be voting with whoever has Western New York's best interests in mind.
Well, how do they prove that, though, to you? What do they need to say to you to make you feel comfortable that they're going to support Western New York?
I think that's to be determined. I'm going to go with a slate of issues that are important to Western New York. UB 2020 is one of them. Job creation is some of them. Ensuring that a property tax cap is implemented. Ethics reform. These are all issues that I believe are important to the constituency that just entrusted me with their vote of confidence to represent Western New York in the New York State Senate. And these are all issues that anyone that wants my vote for leadership is going to have to deal with and speak to me on and ensure that Western New York's voice is heard in Albany if, in fact, I'll be voting for them for leadership.
Okay, there is a colleague of yours. His name is Ruben Diaz. I don't know if you've met him yet. He's from the Bronx. You may or may not have heard of him. He's a pretty outspoken guy.
I've heard of him.
Okay, he's kind of infamous, actually. So he has said, I'm not going to rule out the possibility that I would vote for a Republican for leader. Would you rule out that possibility?
I'll be voting for a Democrat for leadership.
Okay, so, but you're not necessarily certain. I mean, at this point, we don't know who the candidates are, be they for minority leader or for majority leader. We have one right now, Pedro Espada, because they split that position after the coup. He's going. You have a conference leader, that's John Sampson, and you're not willing to commit your vote to him or to anyone else at this point?
At this point, leadership conversations have yet to even begin because we don't know if we're going to be in the majority or the minority. And once those leadership conversations begin, we have a lot to talk about.
Well, it's going to be an interesting year.
Certainly is. Yeah.
Senator-elect Tim Kennedy, I want to thank you very much. It's great to have you in the studio.
Me.
We'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's nice to meet you.
My pleasure.